In this video, we want to talk about solving inequalities, linear inequalities. And solving a linear inequality is very similar to solving a linear equation, with one small exception, which doesn't always show up. And also with the result that instead of having a specific answer, a particular answer, we're going to have a whole interval, a whole range of answers. So if this were an equation, what we would do is write 1.5 plus x is equal to 6.5. Then we would subtract 1.5 from each side, and we would end up with x is equal to 5. So if this were an equation, you would have one answer, x equals 5. As an inequality, though, we're going to do essentially the same thing. 1.5 plus x is less than 6.5 this time. But notice we'll do the same exact operations. We'll subtract 1.5 on each side, and we'll end up with x has to be less than 5. Now, what that means is that x could be any value that is less than 5, and we typically represent the solutions to an inequality on a number line. And we would have 5. You don't need to write all the numbers there. You just need to have a 0 and whatever that number is. And since it doesn't say equal to 5, the number has to be less than 5. So we're going to have an open circle at 5, meaning that we don't include the number 5 in the solution because 5 is not less than 5. And then we shade everything to the left of 5 in the direction of that arrow, the inequality symbol there. And so that's how we're going to solve this particular inequality. And note that there are an infinite number of answers. -2, that's an answer because -2 is less than 5. 0 is an answer because 0 is less than 5. 4.99, that's an answer because that's less than 5. But we can have 5, so that's why we have an open circle there, and we don't shade anything to the right of 5. So the next example. The next example is that, let's scroll up here, is that 4/3 plus x has got to be greater than 3. So, and this time I won't go through solving this as if it were an equation. We're going to subtract 4/3 from both sides. And we end up with x has got to be greater than 3 minus 4/3. So this will give you an opportunity to practice working with fractions. We have to have a common denominator in order to subtract, and so using thirds, this would be the same as x is greater than 9/3, which is 3, minus 4/3, and so x is going to be greater than 5/3. Now 5/3 is more than 1 but less than 2, and if we were to represent these solutions on a number line, we might have a 1 here, a 2 here, and this would be 5/3. Actually, 5/3 is closer to 2 than it is to 1, so we're going to say that that's 5/3 would be here. This one, by the way, would be 4/3. And we want to be greater than 5/3, but not equal to. If it's equal to, we shade in the circle. If it's greater than or less than only, we're going to have an open circle and shade to the right. So in this case, we would draw a circle at 5/3, which is somewhere between 1 and 2, but closer to 2, and then shading in the direction of the inequality, the arrow pointing to the right, we're going to shade everything to the right. And so that does it for this example of solving inequalities. In the simple case, we haven't looked at the exception. The exception would be if you had to multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we would reverse the direction of the inequality, but we'll leave that for a later time. And so that'll do it here.